Yeah, Isaac. I love to connect with you.
You're so welcome.
Mm.
The vibrating.
Oh, vibrating.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know, I'm just reflecting as we sit here together. I mean, it's such strong times at the moment because there's something going on
Mhm.
and we just don't know who to trust or where to get clear information.
Mhm.
So that basic, trust is very shaky at the moment.
Mm.
Yeah, you know, people say trust the scientists and trust your government. They have your best interests at heart. And you know, if you question anything, then you're crazy. And I mean, it's just like on and on. You know, it's just So it's like,
I don't know what it was, the shakiness. I don't have a label for it. I just feel it as sensation in the body, like
yeah.
shaking or life force or something
Mm,
is moving through me. I
yeah,
have no clue in a sense. But the felt sense is, hey, the body is shaking.
I understand. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, and maybe it's just my interpretation. I need to try and find how to change my settings because it's the sound is coming through my speakers. The sound coming through my speakers bother
It
you at
feels
all?
okay. No, it is okay at this moment. I don't hear any echo or nothing, just your
Oh,
voice. Mm.
okay. Let me see.
You can change it. Usually,
I see it.
yeah, okay.
I got it. Hallelujah.
Mm. Mm.
And maybe I'm just talking about what's going on in me, you know, just,
Mm.
but I can just feel that. To me, it feels like the whole field is shaking, and there's such a division in people in terms of. I mean, I put posts up, and I just watch how,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, it's just
And
interesting time.
yeah, it definitely is. And for me,
Mm.
Isaac, I'm not so much into investigation and everything.
Mm.
Um, but I'm really open to hear if you have found really good information that you say, hey, this is worthwhile. Then I'm very interested because it's all
You know,
about that we get
yeah,
a kind of consciousness about it without going too deep into all the things
yeah.
around it. And I'm interested to hear if you have found things that are important. And myself,
The,
I don't have a
there's,
pull to go there,
yeah.
I would say.
There were two videos that resonated for me. This
Mm-hmm.
one guy was talking about how pandemics didn't even exist for human beings until we started domesticating animals, and
Mm-hmm.
then we picked up a bunch of different things from the animals, and they actually can track, you know, smallpox. I forget which came from which, but um, flu came from birds, and he was saying that, you know, the viruses keep changing, and when you farm poultry like it's being farmed now, with millions of chickens in one big place,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have ventilation, and they're literally sitting in
Mm-hmm.
their own shit. You've got the perfect conditions for viruses, actually. And so his sense of things is that this, you know, this is flu is the one pandemic that can really be dangerous for humans.
Mm-hmm.
And his sense of it is that it's coming from the way we raise our animals.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's that approach. The other approach is um, we have to find a vaccine and try and vaccinate everybody and keep track of everybody, and um, that's the only way to control it, rather than dealing with where it's coming from. It's like the Western medicine approach, you know,
Mm-hmm.
forget about where it comes from, just deal with the symptoms. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how it seems to me, anyway, from reading it. And then there were some doctors who came on that, to me, seemed very genuine, and they work. That's their field of study, is this whole thing. And but no matter what you say, everywhere somebody will shoot it down. That's
Mm.
it.
Yes,
So
of course. Yeah.
they were just saying that, you know, actually our immune system functions from being challenged. It functions. That's, you know, if you want a strong immune system, then, you know, like, be in the garden, get exposed to the, because we've got I forget how many, but millions of viruses, and the viruses actually protect us. And so this idea of staying inside and being afraid and not having human touch is the worst thing for our immune system. To them, it makes sense to rather, quarantine the people that are vulnerable, and everybody else goes about their business, because this whole shutting down everything has huge ramifications in terms of people committing suicide, domestic violence, sexual inappropriateness. I mean, and people losing their jobs, their businesses, or and on, So it's just, it's how do you find if you suggest, if you have another idea about, and then there's all these ideas of that the social distancing makes sense, but then you see all the things about it that don't make sense. And so I don't know, it's one of these funny things. And if you speak any of it, then you're not following the guidelines. You're not afraid enough. You're not being considerate about everybody else, etc., etc. So
yes.
yeah, and so it's like this. The world is. This morning I've been doing these just live things. I was speaking about this whole thing about wanting to be safe, and then how that plays out. It's like, and so this whole thing of wanting to be safe, and okay.
And you spoke. I heard it, and then we are never safe anyhow.
Yeah. So,
and how can we rest in that, huh? Resting in that.
And how we can rest in that, and be intelligent. Like if there's something going on, is there a way that we can be in it? But then, it's like, where do you get people that you feel are using actually common sense and don't have an agenda, that are leading the conversation? That's my difficulty, because when I see Fauci, Bill Gates, and that involved, I go, wow. Yeah, they heavily invest in vaccines. So for me, there's a conflict of interest.
Of course.
Maybe they mean well. I have no idea, but I also just see that it's, so anyway, in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's a kind of mixed agenda. There's a lot going on.
A lot going on, yeah.
And yet here we find ourselves, and there's a love flow in the now.
Yeah.
And then we come back to that simplicity of here.
The simplicity and just feeling that shaking going on in the whole field. It's and the other thing for me is just to bring it. I'm sure everybody's sick of talking about. Everybody's sick of talking about this stuff, but maybe not. But for people in the West to be in lockdown, you have your house and at least you got access to food, but there's 2/3 of the world population that aren't nearly as fortunate. And you put people in lockdown like in South Africa or in China or in some of these countries, it's not the same for everybody. And then, they don't have access to food. I mean, God, I wonder what's going to come out of this whole thing. It's like my sense is the cure is worse than the disease, but who knows? I'm not an expert. I'm just looking at the situation. And
I was thinking about South Africa and all the black people. What can they do? It's just crazy.
It is a bit crazy times, and so much fear.
So that's what we can do to hold that fear, huh?
Just and being here and present, and let it rip.
Wow. Thank you.
But the good thing is I'm losing a lot of friends on Facebook, so there's room for new friends.
Ah, great. That's always good to have new friends. No worries.
Great.
Thank you, I said.
Thanks, Judith.
Hi, I'd like a chance if no one was going to go. Eva?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes.
Is there a queue?
Yes. No, there's no queue. So go for
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Thanks.
Goedemorgen. Good morning.
Fun to laugh people off. So, okay, just a moment. Now my heart is beating like crazy.
Just take your time. You don't have to rush it. Really, just take time. Okay, just we here, and the heart is beating, and yeah, somehow.
Out of nowhere. I was
Out
fine
of
a moment ago.
Yeah, exactly. So just not jumping over it and not pushing through and nothing. Just oh, sweetheart, it's beating. Yeah.
Wait, maybe one more moment. It's slowing down.
Really take your time. Take your time.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know, the tendency when it does that is to want it to change or to want it to, to somehow, but just to take the opportunity to be present to it. Wow, how lucky is that? Yeah, nothing has to be different somehow. Yeah, same phenomena as Brahmanjali was speaking about on Facebook. Just somebody puts a like or dislike and the system responds. Here we just talking over the internet and then suddenly the heart starts beating. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, hey?
Yeah,
Actually.
it is. And we can't control it. It just does it. Yeah.
Okay. I've been exploring in my psyche somewhere. It's coming to a point where it sees that it possibly doesn't have to learn from suffering. And so if I take that into a wider realm, I need to question. So there's the situation here in South Africa is very different to the rest of the world because I live in a small harbour village where it's a microcosm of the macrocosm of South Africa, where a lot of people are living in very extreme and difficult conditions, ranging between 3-meter tin homes by 3 meters with no internet, water, electricity, or Wi-Fi.
Or toilets.
To very, very rich. Saul Kersner, who owned all the hotels, lives here too. So it's a very interesting dynamic here. And a lot of people are suffering a lot. They're extremely desperate. I mean, it's a desperate situation for many people here. And so I'm just going to keep talking to see if I could get to what I actually want to. So my question started to come in. Okay, so we need to, in the collective, we can't be okay until all these people are okay either. While they're alive and they're suffering like that, I mean, we have to help, right? And then on a different level, the word forgiveness has entered my consciousness quite a lot, and I've been playing around a lot in my mind with people in my life that I've hurt, that I feel have hurt me, and I feel very grateful for that something could actually come in where I could see that I don't. If we're going into a golden age, for instance, which is something that we don't really know, maybe through some soul memory from the last time the world went into a golden age, is that you know, can come to a place where there isn't so much suffering, right? And can I personally in my life be okay that even Bill Gates and the people that I dislike intensely or feel that are doing evils in this world or want power and all our money or whatever you can put it, could I be okay with them could I be okay with them not having to suffer the consequences of their actions? You know, could we really move into a place where that doesn't happen? You know, where suddenly there's no karma like that, you know? And it felt like, and I feel really pleased that it felt like it could. So that's where I get to now with this point where, but so yeah, in my little innocent partly innocent, other not so innocent part of me, yeah, in the innocent part of me, there's something that's saying, yeah, I would love it if we could just take suffering away. And yes, even those people that are trying to take us down, in my heart, I could be okay with them not having to suffer either for their deeds. But then there's another part of me that feels that there's a consequence for that. And so the consequence in a way could be, I got here to this place by suffering, right? I learned from everything that happened to me in my life. So I think it's nearly out. Okay, so
okay.
So then how do those two marry up, if I can put it like that? So I mean, it's not that, I mean, why do I feel like I can decide to be, I mean, who do I think I am in one way, thinking that I could be okay with it? Why does my head even go there? I don't know. I mean, I don't know,
Okay.
but somehow that's
So
part of myself.
Yeah, so somehow, you know, the mind, or you could say mentally, there's a trying to work it out.
But I think it's a good exploration.
Not a problem. Let's just see see if that's accurate. Mentally, there's a trying to work it out.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's not right or wrong or good or bad. It's trying to just, in a way, come to peace, but through the mind.
The mind can, yes, but not only the mind can help. It is a friend also.
Okay, so let's see. Well, maybe it's possible to come at it another way. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
With no mind.
Yeah, or just seeing the mind doing its dance.
Okay.
It's trying to help. It's not wrong. It's not bad. When I say mind, it's thoughts. It's just thoughts coming to try to make sense of things.
Okay.
And we're here. And it's just, that's what it does. It's just doing that dance.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that's happening in awareness, in whatever that is, yeah? And just when we recognize that, does something slow down? Does something get wider? Does something get more contracted? What happens just in...
Still. Something became still.
Something became still. Okay, so we're here now. And we've grown up in the perspective of personal doership, that there's somebody that's actually doing stuff. So that's been really drummed into us, and you know, most people look through that filter, so to speak. Yeah, at a certain depth, we can see that there's nobody. There's just all of totality functioning and doing its dance. You know, it's just like, and yeah. You know, because we can see it in terms of like breathing is happening. and we speak it, I'm breathing. But really what we can just notice is that breathing's happening. Bodying is happening. And we certainly can't claim to be doing bodying. It's way too vast. It's just like thinking happens, and it's just like we say I'm thinking, but really thinking happens or it doesn't, yeah. Depending how if the interest takes us to a more quietness, then thinking slows down. If the interest is trying to solve something, then it speeds up. It's just yeah. So again, no right or wrong. It's just like, okay, wow, we're just exploring and seeing. So this idea of personal doership, I mean, the thing that, the humor of that is epitomized in, Ramana asked the question, when the teeth bite the tongue, who's to blame? Is it the teeth's fault? Is it the tongue's fault? So we have a system where, some people will cheat and steal and murder and all that stuff. But somehow, like we can't put it in isolation. It's like, this thing of recognizing, wow, when the system is geared that some people have a huge amount, other people don't have much, and some people, get brought up in alcoholic homes or in all kinds of different circumstances, there's ramifications, and somehow, we're involved in all of it. So we've got this system of this thought form of punishment and like that, and we've tried it. We've got this massive, worldwide, there's massive jailing systems, and some countries are exploring different options, and they're having actually pretty good results with it. But we've been brought up with this whole thing of punishment, yeah? And the difference between consequence and punishment, it's like, okay, if you, it's quite vast.
It's huge.
So it's like, yeah, so it's like, so there's all these expressions of life doing their dance. Oftentimes, just looking through the filter that they see at the moment, it's like, I make that joke about nobody wakes up in the morning and says, let me see how much I can suffer today and make all the people around me that I love the most suffer. But it's the way most people actually live. But you can see it's unconscious. Nobody would do that consciously. So, we've got that saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It is a funny one, but we know that it's possible to meet each other beautifully. And so it's just like...
Can you just stop there for a moment? I just want to take in, you said the road to hell is paved with good intention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an interesting saying.
Yeah. So oftentimes, we have a good intention, and we're so sure of our intention. Look, I mean you well, and if you don't get it and it doesn't fit for you, then the trouble is with you. It's not with me, because my intention is good. Yeah. If you don't get it that I'm trying to help you, that hey, wait, I didn't ask for help. I don't even, that doesn't feel like help to me. So
Yes, it's all about intention.
Yeah.
On one level, it's all about intention.
Yeah, so we're here, and so in a sense, we're making very fine distinctions. We're learning, wow, all we have to give each other is our attention. That's it. So then it's like, once, if we see that, if we don't see that, then it's like, look, I have a good intention, and my attention is meeting you in a way that's really painful for you. Yeah. So it's like, okay, wow, if we recognize it's our attention, okay, that's it. And that attention has been conditioned from very young, and it's automatic and unconscious a lot of the time. It's just doing its dance. It's seeing someone as an object. It's seeing through filters of I like, I don't like, and all this stuff, and believing it. And yeah. So, you know.
So it's a very good question then to really explore what your attention is giving out. I mean, I've never actually really looked at what energy is inside of this attention. I mean, I've picked up, and obviously I know, yeah, I'm trying to check you out. I want to see if you get over your bad, and you know, and there's in touch with some of it. But there's sometimes when I think it's innocent, but on a very, very fine thread, it's actually still wanting something. It's actually still.
Yeah, exactly. And then this whole thing of, you know, like there's a yearning in us to have a sense of, I could say, love, of no boundaries, of just feeling at ease. But again, for many of us, we never had that with our parents. So, you know, somehow we've learned compensations or ways of surviving that meet the moment with very mixed signals. With, you know, it's like, I want to meet you beautifully, but don't, you know, I don't want to be rejected. And so it's this push-pull story, and our signals are confused, and then we wonder why. You know, like life meets us in the way that it does. So, you know, it's like anything. To me, I use the analogy of riding a bike. It's like, okay, you get interested, then you start to explore. Okay, here we are. We've got this attention to give. Then where does just how our attention is meeting the moment, meeting life? Where's that, you know, that balance point, that sweetness? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Something has softened up very much.
I'm glad. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And you know, it's like one of those things, I always find it, did anyone else get value from just that? I mean, some of you have heard it thousands of times, but if you got value, can you just give some show of, yeah. Just it's useful to see that, you know, this inquiry that was happening for you it's for all of us. Because a lot of times when we do, you know, vulnerably step out like that, it's like, it's nice to receive that it was actually a gift for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, there is nobody waiting, so.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for someone to stop waiting. No, I'm joking.
I thought
Yeah.
it's me.
1 second. Can you just write? Wave your hand or something. There's 2 pages, so I have to look at the other page. Ah, great, Giri. Grit, not grit. Giri, grit.
Good.
Grit. Hey.
Hey. Yeah, I met an Apache 15 years ago, 75-year-old man, and he said to me about my name, Grit. He said, "Do you know the movie with John Wayne, True Grit?" So This was amazing. It felt like an initiation, you know.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that it also means courage in English. Yeah. I loved what you said about attention, that all we have to give each other is our attention. And that's what I would like to do with you.
With pleasure, yeah. And courage, I think the root of it is heartful or something like that. If you look up the root of courage, it's I don't have a clear definition, but yeah. And so, with this giving and receiving of attention, like the habit in most of us is we form an impression of someone and then we don't actually meet the person at all. So it's an interesting thing to just rest with someone without recognizing in a way that we're receiving them through the senses in awareness. So everything, all of them is already in awareness, yeah? It's all here, it's not outside, it's here. All the information is here. The information of the whole universe is here. And it's a very different orientation because then you're just resting, yeah? You're not trying to get or trying to keep out or anything. It's just resting here and presencing,
Very relaxing.
Absolutely, yeah. So, it's like just the whole universe we experience through our senses in this moment. So everything is here. Even the idea of not having or anything it's all here now. Everything is just here, right? Yeah. So we don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to get anything.
Feels like settling into beauty.
Yeah. That's great.
Your eyes are. It's lovely.
Thank you. For me too.
Urja would like to speak. Urja, we'll unmute you now.
Okay, she must be on this page. Ah, there I see.
I'm trying to unmute you, but somehow. Can you unmute yourself, Urja? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, first I want to sit a bit. Yeah, I feel nou ja, you were talking about shaking the world, or when it started, when I opened. And I felt all you say, it is happening in my system right now, that I feel very, nou ja, not really safe, because I had some struggle with my daughter. And it is all related to this staying home and rules, and you know, and actually she came to help me yesterday with rebuilding and whatever. And at the end, yeah, maybe it relates to giving attention to each other, being busy in action, doing, building, whatever, I don't know, but I was putting my voice like, hey, something like that. And then she wanted to beat me on my ass because she felt insulted or something. And I said, okay, go away then. And she said, I already planned to go away. So she went out of the house, but now I feel really
But, so if it's possible, I understand. So, you know, you don't, so what you can see is that something got touched, yeah, in both of you.
Mistrust, a shaken up mistrust, and
hurt.
that is not personal, but we throw it on each other like something is wrong.
Yeah.
I do wrong, or she thinks I say she do wrong, and I said I didn't say you did wrong, and there is something like
it's
I'm
just
right. I don't know.
like playing ping pong. Yeah, just go. Once it starts, it just bounces backwards and forwards. Yeah?
I want to help her because she have a friend in South America, and I feel it's.
I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you. Just stop.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just dealing with there's a touch with your daughter.
I feel distance, and
there's
I do it wrong.
So there's a touch. Yeah, there's just a touch.
Yeah, and it's even not my business whatever she do in her life and what I do in my life. But of course we are attached also.
Yeah, and so all that makes sense to me is just to gently be present to the touch. Not to solve it, not to fix it, not to understand it. But like you said, not to project it out and not to project it onto yourself. There's just a touch. It came by itself. It'll surely leave by itself. But the opportunity is in just simply being present.
Yeah, but I feel a kind of powerlessness now.
Yeah,
powerlessness and blame happening, and my heart, that I feel I have to solve something.
All you watch all those movements.
Demanding. Maybe she's angry and now she's not responding to the app, but why? I don't need it, especially. But in this struggle, I need some peace, and where can I find it if it feels not like a peace?
So this all of this is happening in peace. It's happening in awareness.
Yeah, but I feel hurt.
But then, yeah, I understand. So now we
I
just
hurt
here.
her, I guess, especially when I freaked out and she wanted to beat me, you know, and then it was like, what?
So can you stop, please?
Yeah,
Okay, so we're here and there's hurt. Hurt happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
like non-breathing, something
Yeah.
like.
Just letting it, hurt happens and it can break our hearts open or it can break our hearts closed.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
feel
So
now.
we
I
just,
feel,
we just here now and we just exploring. There's a lot of automatic that happens when hurt happens, just automatic movements and how it activates our thinking and it activates, wanting to solve it or fix it and all those movements. But just
yeah.
there's just hurt. No one did it to you. You didn't do it to yourself. If hurt
But I
happened, then
feel
your
also
daughter.
control, that I have to control something with my body. I don't
Yeah,
know.
good. Yeah, I understand. That's one of the movements. You just see it and see if there's a you that could control even.
And I have fear also that I lose the connection with her because she's angry. Then there is this fear, okay, I said things wrong, I see things wrong. Maybe she have to learn herself. I don't have to advise her. I say maybe, and then I feel, oh, I lose her by saying things also about this man. Yeah, but it's not my business actually. It's her own
Yeah,
business. But
exactly. And
yeah,
so you notice that again, out of good intention, sometimes you open your mouth in a way that is not so
protection.
that's not so skillful.
Yeah, maybe.
and we and we all know that. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
also part of it. That she said that to me, that I was really saying things out of context. And I said, no, it's not true. I see it right. It was really,
That's the difficulty, That's really the difficulty because oftentimes when something goes on and we're sure of our good intention, then we don't want to hear what someone else tells us.
also to see her good intention, because I feel I put a blame to her
Yeah, I
that she was
understand.
not listening about
Yeah.
something what was important to mention outside in the, and she was looking to the TV, saying something off the TV. I said, are you going to watch TV now? But I was looking there. And
Stop.
yeah,
Yeah.
but she
Yeah.
said, what else to do in these days?
Yeah.
To do the Facebook or watch TV.
So,
Yeah, and I feel that she is not
Urja,
happy. Yeah, stop.
I'm not
Yeah,
interested
stop.
in the whole story, yeah.
Nee, the
Because
details doesn't matter. It is,
then there's no inquiry. We just, okay.
yeah, I don't want to go in a
Yeah,
story, but I feel powerless in a way, and
yes.
shame,
Just, yeah,
shame that I do
how
it
good,
wrong. I have
yeah,
powerlessness in
yeah.
communication skills, maybe.
And if it was up to you, would you do this?
How then
You
I
can
should
see
have done it different, of course.
so that's my question. Like, if it was up to you, you would have done it different. But it's not
Yeah,
up to you. It came out like that. So something's playing unconsciously, and
yeah,
either there's a gentle inquiry and not blaming yourself or shaming yourself, or if blaming and shaming happens, to recognize it for what it is and not to run with it. Just keeping quiet. Okay.
yeah. But how
There's
to
love.
make it okay?
It is okay already. When you try to make
Yeah,
it okay, it keeps the idea alive that there's something not okay.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I already told her in the phone that it was all
Good.
okay, but and I have,
Yeah, and it's easy, if you realize it was less than skillful, you can say sorry.
I already did, but she's not responding. She's angry, I guess.
Yeah, well,
But maybe it's a good sense stick.
Yeah.
I guess I got a sense stick by getting the beats on my ass. I was really shocked from that, like feeling like a horse, you know, like bam. And
well, maybe if you're lucky, you got a Zen master there. And anyway,
yeah,
I'm
but I
joking. But
feel
yeah. No,
yeah,
so stop. Just stop again. We here.
yeah,
All is well.
I feel
You're just
stupid.
watching. Yeah, I understand.
And
It's
I
probably
act
not.
out of
It's probably not the first time, and it most likely is not the last.
yeah,
So,
no, not like words like this. I feel I have experience and you don't know, but she knows more, I guess, from her own wisdom. And then I have to learn something, but maybe it's too late to learn.
yeah,
Is it too late?
there's only now.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, that is. Yeah, and then but I feel really I made a mistake somehow.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay to recognize that.
But I say thank you to her. Thank you. You helped me out yesterday. But now she's angry. But I feel also her ego a bit. That she had a good intention and I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Maar ja,
So,
but
so
I,
now,
yeah.
now your thinking is jumping in again.
Yeah, the telephone is nearly empty and my own body is empty also. Feel very empty. What to do?
Then keep quiet.
Yeah, but in that I feel the powerlessness now.
How lucky.
Pain in my shoulders.
How lucky.
Good to feel that, yeah.
Yeah, just being present with it.
Yeah. Maybe there is not a real problem.
For sure not.
So how does it end? How does it end?
We all die.
Oh, yeah, it feels like that.
And I don't know if that's even the end or that's the beginning. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe it's the beginning, but it feels like that. Like I was laying, like oh, I feel like dying.
Yeah, it's a touch. That's all. I like to give someone else. I would like to give someone else.
Yeah, okay. I can look at the touch and maybe let it go, but I cannot let it do it. It will happen.
It will
Thank
happen.
you.
Exactly.
Thank you. Good to share this. Already give some breeze, give some air to breathe.
I'm happy to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
The immune system is here on the heart area. Thank you.
Very welcome.
I hope you see me.
I do see you.
Oh, thank you. Good to share this. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Iris would like to speak.
Iris.
Iris, I can.
Let's see.
Hello.
Yeah. I see you. Yeah. Cool. Hi.
Part of that was already for me.
I'm glad. I mean, actually, it's all for everything. We can all relate to everything, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, this space of awareness, this awareness in which everything's happening, and then our humanness, all these funny little movements, and all, you know, wow. And yeah, just to be vulnerable and naked in that, it's, to me, is such a gift.
being with you is such a gift.
Oh, sweetheart.
Unless you're talking a bit too much about your opinion, then I feel.
Of course, of course.
But I notice, and I love you.
Oh, it's clear. Oh, beautiful, huh? Yeah. You know, for me, just to see all these funny things going on in myself, is I have an endless sorts of jokes. Just if you can't laugh at ourselves, I mean, wow. My God, what funny movements.
I just noticed how much, with all this tension here since years now, more or less, I notice how much my mind is constantly trying to figure out how to deal with that, how to be with it.
Yeah.
And there is a sense of doing it all wrong and maybe having the wrong attitude, and where is the right one? It's so crazy.
Yeah. You know, just to bring that in context, somewhere along the line, your system picked that up. So sometimes it can be in your direct family, the dynamic in your direct family, or it can even be from some generations back. We don't know. A lot of times we don't have much access to the dynamic that was going on in our grandparents' stuff, but somehow our system ends up with these funny information, you could say, undigested information.
Yeah, sometimes it feels very old, but also the way trying to deal with it is also so deeply conditioned in that dynamic.
Yeah, and just look, so in this moment, just in this moment, you're in it in a different way. It's fresh. It's so just to recognize that, and we're here, and so your system's actually getting new information. Yeah, it's like something that I notice is that for me, learning happens when there's presence and gentleness. The moment it moves into hard noticing, very hard to learn. Because, it's like the system has to deal with that hardness. So we just hear and we see those patterns play. You would never do them consciously. Never. So clearly it's something unconscious playing, yeah? And if it's unconscious, what does it mean about you? You would never, you could see, it's old stuff, yeah? And it can have so many different nuances, trying to be perfect so that you'll get love, or there's just there's a lot of different ways of putting pressure on ourselves.
And I can see that something is moving when there is the assistance of a field like this, or a connection like with you.
For sure.
Or like an inquiry which touches something like the two before. That something can shift somehow, and that in that presence a little bit more gets seen, and
exactly,
it's a little bit easier to be with it and not looking at it through this very hard lens, which is so familiar here.
Yeah. Beautiful, Iris. And you're seeing that and recognizing it and valuing it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. And then just sensing the way my attention is resting with you. You have to be any particular way for me to give you this quality of attention, or it's just love meeting itself. That's all. You don't have to be any special way. Whatever patterns are playing, they can be there. it's not going to affect the love in any way.
And then there again comes that thought of being incapable of giving any of that properly back, and then that.
Yeah, and it's, you see, look, if it's a young organization, it's not its job to give it back. That would be an adult organization, yeah, just so. If it's young, it is okay.
Thank you for naming that.
Just resting and feeling your system unwind, and like energy starting. For me, it feels like energy starting to flow in your system, and it feels lovely. And I don't know how you sense it, but
I sense it's so good to not only feel but also hear that there is no expectation for anything special.
Exactly.
Because I really sense that whatever this is, it's just not. It just can't do anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That image of a young baby and the mom is just giving it attention, just for it laying there. It's like. But then, if our moms were stressed or something was going on and they didn't have that, they weren't resourced and couldn't give that, our nervous system never got what it needed then.
And it really feels that this is really learning from being in loving and gentle attention just for nothing. Then something can slowly unwind a little bit.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
So good to be felt and seen in that. And then the adult part here is not struggling so much with all.
Yeah. If it's useful, you can use your imagination to imagine being held, just like you would love to be held, because touch is such an important part of our, that information flows.
You're frozen a bit here.
I'm back. I don't know where I went, but I'm back.
You were here. A little bit doing something on the side, but I felt you to be here.
Oh, good.
Thank you for all your support.
Oh.
I love you.
So beautiful to meet like this, huh? Just exquisite.
You have 3.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. I see you.
Okay, oh, there you are. Yeah. Hi, I
Benedetta.
would love to just sit with you. I first have a request. If you could lift your screen a little bit so your eyes are a little bit more higher into the screen. So I have more of an illusion that I'm actually looking at you.
It's funny because I can look at my camera, then you might have the sense I'm looking right at you, but
Yeah, you're not looking at me.
then I'm looking at my camera. But if I look at your, you have to move more to the top of the screen, so then your eyes are closer to my camera.
This?
No, it's like the other direction. Yeah.
I'll check.
Anyway. But I'm looking on my screen. I'm looking right in your eyes.
Right.
Yeah. Now you're getting it closer to the camera.
So we're getting the hang of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just felt like connecting, and I've been connecting with the whole team already, and
Beautiful.
lovely conversations, and thanks to everyone and to you, and yeah, it's recognized so much.
Yeah.
And for you, thank you for being gentle to your own opinions, because this gentleness to be gentle to yourself when you're having strong opinions, it's so easily get into hardness, and that's just so painful.
Yeah, for sure.
So happy to see that. Words get really in the background when we sit like this. So nice. I can sense your love and vulnerability, or immense strength. And there's also something like a little boy in you. I can see that. Some playfulness. And yeah, I'd love to see that. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm so curious if as a species, if we can actually develop a system that's fun, that's lovely to interface with, that isn't corrupt. I mean, I don't know, you know, I think for the Dutch, you know, there's I don't. Do you think the Dutch in general trust the government, or?
I guess a little bit more than people in Australia and in America and in England.
Yeah.
Because it seems that our wealth is a little bit more equally divided, but it's getting worse into gaps between rich and poor. So.
Yeah. And is there a lot of, like, you know, how money influences politics? Like, you know, in Australia, you know, these guys, these billionaires, they just buy the politicians. And
it seems we're going into that direction because a tax paradise for some 10 years now. So, and there's been a lot of cut downs on the so-called essential jobs that we need, like which is clear right now, like nurses, doctors, teachers, policemen, and we really feel that. So I hope for some changes, but right now they just gave billions of euros to our Dutch air flight company, and that's just so wrong. Because there's so much pollution. I got asthma, but these weeks I got more air. I'm more healthy.
Yeah.
So that's for me clear. I really need to get out of town. And what you're requesting is, can we wake up to more joy and more solidarity?
Yeah, and actually develop a way. You know, you could say another approach. This whole idea of government, to me, it seems like it's time for a new system.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We got some great people here in the Netherlands, and like Rutger Bregman or Jan Rotmans or people from Agenda. So there are a lot of trials against the government, and they've been forced to follow up the Paris agreements, and they really are trying to, because they are forced. But this third force from money and big companies, that is so that our democratic, you know, powers, they get out of balance. The system was created to stay in balance, but if there's one party that's than the other, it's a real fight.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we manage. I'm not very optimistic myself, but
you know, Michael Moore. You know who Michael Moore is.
Yeah.
I just saw he's got a new movie out. I haven't watched it yet, but I watched the first few minutes. And it starts off with going out onto the street and asking a bunch of random people, how long do you think before humanity is gone? And the answers, you know, range from 10 years to 1 million years. I mean, it's interesting. It's just a question to contemplate. Wow, how long are we going to, before we, you know, like with our current orientation, wipe ourselves out?
Yeah, well, I don't want to be rude, but I care more about the whole system of a healthy earth than 7 billion people. It would be lovely if we could decrease the number of people gradually, that people get less children. Usually when women are treated well, they don't tend to take 10 children, then 2 is enough. So if that would develop like that, it would be wonderful. But I don't know, you know, when we go back 2,000 years, man men overtook dominance over women, so I kind of blame patriarchy. Because the balance between men and women are already, it's still out of balance. Even with the emancipation in the Western world, it's still male qualities that are, appreciated most. Like you have to act, you have to fight for yourself or for your family. Yeah, so the whole incentives are still male dominated, I would say, but yeah, it's only words what's coming up right now. When you push your button, then there's a story coming out. It's always the same with me. So okay, let's forget about it all. I guess we're just here, and I don't know, but it's really a wild time for sure. Yeah.
What I see is like somehow when we meet, and especially in the retreats, we form a field that is quite amazing. Something amazing happens. So
I'm gonna Michael Moore. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We can go a few minutes later if anyone wants to, because I couldn't get on at the time.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to just hang out for a little bit longer,
would like to speak.
Yvonne. Thanks, Aneta.
Yeah.
Yvonne.
Suzanne.
Suzanne.
Yes, you're unmuted now, Suzanne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have to go to the next page, I think. Where's Suzanne?
Yeah.
Oh, still not seeing you. I've got to go back, I guess. Oh, there, now I found you.
Okay.
Oh. Hello.
Hello. I just wanted to be with you. A lot is touched. And I'm really grateful that you offer that. And I realize how often I'm not okay with what is. So.
How lucky. Yeah, lucky to see. And just to inquire, I know we've done it many times, but if it was up to you, would that be happening? No. So we can see it's not you doing that. There's a movement that comes, that happens, and it's familiar, and it happens, and then maybe there comes a moment when you recognize it. And then, it's like, it might just be for a millisecond, but at that moment, oh wow, something moved automatically, unconsciously.
Yeah.
But the tendency to take that personally and make it mean something about you is huge, yeah?
Yeah, and trying to fix it or trying to find a way to come out of it.
Exactly. All just gives it energy, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not gentle at all. Not to me, not to anybody else.
Exactly, yeah.
And when you talk to Iris about this, how it sits in the system of parents and
grandparents, and so I think that's quite a clue.
Yeah.
Thank you, Isaac.
Oh, big love. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Yeah, sorry for being late today. Usually it works perfectly. Just click a button, I'm on, but today it wanted, it was playing with me. Anyway. Yeah.
Thank you, Isaac.
Oh, thank you all for showing up. Yeah. Thanks for your vulnerability, your honesty.